Howdy, folks. Flight Sim Dev here. Um, okay, uh, I'm going to show you some programs that I use to make scenery in either Flight Sim 10 or FS 2020 or FS 2024. Um, I won't be actually making the scenery, but I'll show you the programs and pretty much how to use them. Now, the first one, we will just go with FS Earth Tiles. Everyone has heard of this program. It pretty much gets updated every month or so now. And here's the program. Now, yours might open in a different area. It might look a little bit different to mine. I have, paid services like Mapbox and a few other services out there that allow me to get scenery that the free version doesn't really give you. Now, it is free. What you need to do is set yourself up a working folder and a scenery folder. There's your scenery folder, there's your working folder. You could use the defaults and then just have everything going to the default, which will be, I think, documents when it comes, fresh out of the box. I generally don't. I like to have it on I've got a dedicated hard drive. It's a 1 terabyte hard drive, and I've got that just for my games. So all my games are installed there. It's not an SSD, it's just a normal hard drive, but it's 1 terabyte. It's got the space. I could use an SSD, but over the life of the SSD, because I'm writing to it and deleting and writing to it and deleting every single day at least 50 times, SSDs are not really designed for that. They're designed to hold data and extract data. But if you're deleting and remaking and deleting and remaking, SSDs will not last long in that condition. So a permanent hard drive or you know, like the old IDE days or serial ATA hard drive is the way to go. The bigger the better. I've got an external that's 4 terabytes, and that's where I put my masters. So anything that's a master, I put on my external hard drive. And when you buy an external hard drive, buy two. So if you buy a 1 terabyte, it's $80. Spend the other extra $80 and buy two. Leave one in the cupboard and don't use it. Because if you have a problem with one, say the hard drive fails in 5 years' time. Well, in 5 years' time, that hard drive's no longer available. You could, if you're very lucky, close off your room, make it as sterilised as you can, get your rubber gloves on. You could pull the external hard drive out, take the platters out, and put it into the new hard drive housing, and you'll get your data. You won't get it all, but you will get some of it, maybe 75%. But to me, getting 75% is better than losing 100%. So that's one way. One way. That's the first thing I generally do. When I'm buying something, I'll buy two of it. I may not even use the second one. The first hard drive might last until I see there's a problem and then decide to change it. Most people work on that because in, 4 or 5, it generally, if I'm making an airport, I'm not making one at the moment, but if I'm making an airport, it generally takes me between 12 and 18 months to finish it. I generally do everything solo. I have my beta testers out there that once I'm getting close to finished, I'll send it to them and they'll tell me all the bugs, what they found, and then I'll fix those bugs. I'm not like your modern, you know, gaming place. I won't mention names, but I won't release something unless I've thoroughly debugged it, basically. But things still crop up. So here we are in FS Earth Tiles. Set your working folder to wherever you want it, give it a name to whatever you want it, and zooming in and out is just with your mouse button. Yours will probably be set somewhere in America. If you're based in America, it'll usually find out where you are. I've got mine over here, but I live in Australia, so it's pretty close to where I am. And then you just pretty much what airport you're looking for. Excuse me. So you just, using your left mouse to drag. Your right mouse you can also use to drag if you're a lefty. And then you just zoom into where it is. So say we zoom in here. I'm in Queensland up here. So this is obviously Australia. If you don't know where Australia is, it's over here. So zooming out, here is Australia. For those people that think it's Asia, it's not, it's Australia. Uh, we've got Darwin up here, Catherine about there, South Australia down here, Victoria about here, roughly in there somewhere. Victoria, just about here where that little white dot is about Canberra. Then you come up the coast a little bit, you've got New South Wales or Sydney. Then you come up the coast a little bit more, you're into Queensland. And Brisbane area here, you go up the coast a bit more, you get into Cairns and so forth, also in Queensland. Over here is Western Australia. The dot is where the centre of the map is. So when you're doing your editing, if that's, you always put your dot in the middle of your scenery that you're making, you'll get the biggest area. You got Perth over here. So that's basically our set. Tassie's this lonely little island. It's not small, it's a big island, but lonely little island here. You got King Island over here, where I know a lot of people. So we'll zoom in here. We'll just pick an area. So we're in Brisbane here. That's Brisbane. Excuse me. That's Brisbane Airport just here. So if you zoom in a bit, depending on how fast my internet's not the best, but depending on how fast your internet is how well it'll refresh. Now at the moment I'm using Google Earth for this. So you can see, that looks pretty good. That's the docks down at Brisbane Airport. And here's the airport. No, you can't make this window bigger. So if you want it bigger, you just do that, right? So here we got Queensland. Now in 2009, Mark Riggs and myself, we built for Flight Sim 2009 or Flight Sim, what was it called back then? Flight Sim 2004 or Flight Sim 9 as most people called it. We built Brisbane Airport with the parallel runways. It didn't have it back then, and only recently it's got its second runway. It took over 10 years to actually construct it, or 10 years to approve it. So it's now got its parallel runway, so you've got one left, one right. So if you follow this waterway down here, you'll find a little airport, which I really want to do, but Photoreel hasn't improved enough for me to do it. So if you follow this little waterway, you get to a place called Amberley. And this is the Amberley military base down here. Now, looking at Google Earth, actually it's improved now. So that's Google Earth. I mean, I could probably work with this now. It's not really clear. It's better than it was. Runway is what I'm looking at. So it's been resurfaced by the looks of it. I'll zoom out a little bit. It's got the new terminal. That's the parachuting terminal. I believe it's a parachuting training terminal. It's where you've got, where people parachute. From what I've been told, the pig pen has been removed, or what I call the pig pen. This hangar's gone by the looks of it. What's that now? A car park. Yeah, it looks like it's just a car park now. So that building's gone, the washroom as they call it. So sounds like an ambulance or a police outside. So this building's gone. Looks like that building's gone too. This looks like just concrete now, and that building's gone as well. And that building's gone as well. So it's just car park now. So that makes it easier for me because that's 3 buildings I don't have to make. That particular building where my cursor is now, that that took me nearly a week to make. It's crazy how long models take. When you're really putting the time and effort into the model and you want to get everything perfect, that particular building took me nearly a week to make alone. I mean, most of these hangars here I could knock over in maybe an hour, including the images, right? So you're using Google Earth obviously for your roof textures. So you've got one texture that's basically got all the roof textures on it, or maybe 2 if there's a lot of buildings. This is just a shade here. So these ones, they're pretty much all the same hangar. So you make one hangar, it takes you 2 hours, and you've got 4 hangars for the price of one, But not having to build these 4 buildings would save me 2 weeks. Now I've made those buildings, and I'll probably place those buildings because of the time it took me to make them. But there are a lot of buildings here. I've done all of these buildings here. These are all the barracks where where all the people sleep. I've actually modelled these quite accurately, even down to the numbers on the side of them. I was in in Queensland, about 8 months ago now, and I actually took an Uber to here, and I walked all the way around here, and took photographs of all the buildings. So I've got a good representation of what these buildings. I got kicked out of the place because I looked too suspicious. I couldn't get to that building; it was secured. Um, I mean, I got kicked out of here, so you can imagine what would happen if I tried to get into there. I'd probably be arrested and put in jail. They're very careful about this airport because it is a high security airport. Now, although Google doesn't look too bad, how close can I get? That's Lot 23, but it's not very clear. See, it's not as clear as Richmond, and I've got a lot of aircraft to remove. Let's have a look at Bing, or, yeah, Bing. Okay, can't use Lot. No, can't use that. Oh, that's very milky. Don't really like it. That's probably old. It's probably still got these buildings, has it? Yeah, see this building here? Look how complicated it is. So you've got basically a door at the front here, a warehouse. It's a big warehouse for storing aircraft. And down here you've got another hangar. That one's already gone. So even it was being, let's use, let's use Mapbox. Okay, Mapbox can't do it at all. I'll have to go to Mapbox and get a new password. Mapbox is one of those services. It's good if it's paid. Sometimes you can get away with Arc. Arc is not too bad, but Arc is as slow as a sore thumb. Every time you zoom in, it's slow. I don't use Arc a lot. Sometimes Arc, I mean, I used Arc when it came to Pierce. Arc, between Arc, Google Earth, actually Arc might be more, let's go that close. See if we can do Lot 19. Zoom 0 is generally, no, that looks ugly. You can see how slow that was. And Arc is pretty much good. Well, it's got more of this building removed. It's more dirt now. So it's more up to date than Google Earth. You can see Google Earth's got concrete along here and concrete along here and dirt running through the middle. And then you've got Arc. The concrete here is gone, it's dirt now. Concrete here is gone, it's only concrete in the middle. So Arc is more up to date, but Arc quality is rubbish. Look at that, it's really milky. Obviously the plane flying over that was taking the photo, it's not satellite photo. It's an aircraft, you can tell by the wash. Google Earth is not a satellite either. It's generally, Google Earth is not bad. So I'll try Google Earth. I'll zoom out to a size like that. I'll put the cursor roughly in the middle. And I want 4 squares to get the whole area. So I want to get it out as far as the tree line here and the tree line here, and maybe out, not as far as the this water hole over here, but probably to here, although I'm not really interested in it, and to here. So what you do is just hit draw and put in a box. Oops, moved it. And you put in a box. So I want to go to there. So on that tree line, because I will put these trees in to make that tree line, I want to go to about there. You get a little bit more than what you want to allow for your blending. Want the tree line at the top. And then you want your tree line at the bottom. Something like that. So once you've got your area, you work out what resolution you want. So here's your download resolution. 5 is pretty poor. You wouldn't want to download 5. If you're not fussy, I generally go to 0 straight away. So that's 0. It's still going to be one image. Now, that's like LOD 17. It'll be okay. I would use pretty much LOD 16 or LOD 17 for anything that is at altitude. So if you're at, say, at 10,000 feet, then LOD 16, LOD 15 is really good at 10,000 feet. It'll look good at the bottom, but it won't be clear until you get close to it. And then when you get close to it, you really want to go to LOD like Richmond Pierce, and yeah, pretty much, and Williamstown were all LOD 19. LOD 20 is pretty hard to get. Uh, you might get one LOD. It depends where you are in the world. Some countries have higher resolution. Some countries have lower resolution. In Australia, we've got sort of the mid range. It's not the upper, so we can't get LOD 22, for instance, but we can get LOD 19 every day, LOD and below, and anything above that, you might have to go to a country that's using this information a lot more than this is. So yeah, so I generally go to -1 or -2 if I can get it. So -1 will go to 2 images, and -2 will go to 6. I don't want it 6 images. That's just too much of a head fuck to do 6 images because, as you know, I changed the runway, I changed the taxiways, I changed the concrete textures. I have to put in buildings. It'd be just too much of a headache to work with 6. Even 2 is pushing it. Now, Williamstown had 4, Richmond had 4, but I managed to combine that into 2. I mean, I can put 6 images into 2 files and just compile 2 files, but it's still 6 images to edit. Once it's in a BGL file for Flight SimX, it's fixed. You can't do anything with it. You can only recompile it. And some of my airports back in the day when I was using Windows XP, so Windows XP in my old system, it took me as much as 2.5 hours to compile some of these BGL files. And because they were so involved, I've had night textures in there, I had seasons in there. A lot of people don't go to the effort, but I do. I like it. So that's 2 images. Let's go 1 image. Okay. Let's just go 1 image for now. Working folder. You basically with this is you just delete it. Go to your hard drive. So I'll open up Explorer now. Show you my hard drives. So here's my games drive here. This has got all my data for all the games that I play. I mean, War Robots I don't play anymore, so let's get rid of that. Delete. Warcraft. I haven't played that for a long time. So in here, we'll just make a new directory in here, I think. So we'll just call this Amberley. Amberley 2024. So that's down the bottom somewhere. Where did it go? Did it make it or not? It didn't make it. New folder. Where's it putting it? Oh, here, it did make it. Okay, get rid of that one. So Amberley 2024, what you do is you just go to the the path up here, hit copy, and then just paste it straight into here. And that's the easiest way. That's it. Amberley 2024, and then you just hit start, and it will do the rest for you. So that's Flight Sim Earth Tiles, and now that's downloading that scenery. It'll take a little bit of time. If you've got security on like Windows 11, you may get pop-ups. Just hit yes. If you do, after a while, Windows 11 will learn and that won't happen anymore. But depends on the securities that you got. So that does that, and then you just go into your directory and you've got the files that you downloaded, the files that have been stitched. It stitches it all together for you. The unstitched files are there as well, and that's pretty much it. I've got all mine set in the INI file or the configuration file that comes with it. So use case, yes. Use scenery proc, yes. Compile scenery, no. I've changed that because it used to be yes. So you might want to go into the INI file. It's just called fsearthtiles.ini, and then just change it so it says no because you don't want to create mask. Yes, if there's water in there, it'll create water layers, and here we go. It's downloading. So that's only 1 image that I'm downloading, and we'll see what the image looks like. So I'll pause the video until it's downloaded. Won't take long anyway. Okie dokie, we're back. Only took a few seconds anyway. If you wanted to jump to any of these corners, just push one of these buttons. I find it useless. So if you want to center it like that. And then you've got the top left corner, top right corner, bottom right, bottom left. And then back to the center. Now, it hasn't finished just because the boxes, you've got these boxes that come up now, and you might get a security warning when this box comes up. If you do, just hit yes. Sometimes the security boxes can force this from happening. This is the masks. This is all your seasons. If the scenery has a night texture, it'll download a night texture. If it has a water texture, it'll download a water texture. If you've got scenery proc turned on, all of this will activate as well to get the scenery, scenery proc, scenery trees and so forth. So I generally just, stop all these boxes from running. But for this video, I'll let them run and let you see how the process works. So it's doing summer, doing night. With Windows 11, each box will open up, and once you see done down here, well, it's done. So let's go to that directory. So another way of doing it is just copy, close down this. It doesn't save it anyway when you close it down, so it doesn't matter if you close it or not. Open up Explorer, it'll go to whatever the default is, go to here, hit paste and hit enter. And here we are. So this is what it downloaded. This is the area image itself, and that's what it looks like. And it won't be the same as what FS Earth Tiles has showed you. Well, it should be, but it's not exactly. And you can see that's very furry, so I wouldn't even use that one. And then you've got your area, your mask here, so what water that there is. Your night textures, don't use that, make your own. Your summer area, and there is no winter and so forth, so it'll make the actual INI file for you. So that's the INI file for the mask, which is on the wrong monitor. Go over here. So you can see multi-source, number of sources is 2, yada yada, bitmap images, and then bitmap none. You want to change it to a TIFF, change it to a TIFF. Make sure you change all of this to a TIFF. And you've got your latitude and longitude there as well. And I put other stuff in here as well. A lot more other stuff. And then give it a dedicated name. Leave the scenery, but give it a dedicated name. Just call it Ambly. Or if you're doing it, I'm downloading it every month. This one's not too bad, but it's not something I would use. So I do this every month. I download it every month. If I like it, I keep it. And if I want to start work on it, I will. I won't start work on anything I don't keep. You've got a thumbnail here of the area as well. You can delete that straight away. Summer, this one and that one will be the same. So you can delete one of them and save 227 megabytes. And that's it. So I'm not going to keep that. So delete that. And next month I'll do the same. I'll download it. So that was FS Earth Tiles. The other one I use is called Aero Scenery. It's not actually for Flight Sim 10, and you can see the last area. So here we've got Ambly here because I was doing some preps, and it's the same. You zoom in and out with your mouse. The left is to move the cursor, but the right doesn't do anything. The right actually clears these boxes. Well, supposed to, not the box. Once you've compiled something, the box will stay there. So you can see this uses also Google Earth. There's Google, but you can see this Google Earth, is it the same? I mean, it's got a yellow box over the top of it. Google Satellite. I should be able to clear it. There is a clear here. Show airports. Somewhere in here, I don't use this program a lot, but when there's hard to get areas, I generally do use it. So I'll show you how it's done. Pretty much you pick your service, it's Bing or Google. It's the only two options you've got, where FS Earth Tiles has got a big range of options. So you've got Bing or Google. Generally, Google is better than Bing, but in some areas, Bing is better than Google. If you want the box, you've got your largest, which is, it just picks an area. I'll show you what I mean. When you center it, say you want level 13, which is your best quality, but you want a large area. You just click once on your left mouse, right? Just like that. You click once, and that's the area that you do. If you want another area, click it again, and it'll do it in boxes. So I'm just clicking here. So you might want to do the whole of Queensland in Photoreal, and you drag as well with the left one, and then you might want to just get the whole of this. Now each one of these boxes is one image in a very low LOD level. So that's the area that you're doing. Now if I was doing Amberley and I wanted to do that, if you want to get rid of the box, just double click on them and they will disappear. It's that easy. If it's earth tiles, a lot easier. So you might want to only just do this area. So if I'm flying from Adelaide to Brisbane, then I'll be coming in from this path here. I'll be flying, say the cursor is that little red dot there. I'll be flying in, flying in, flying in, flying in. This is all mountain range here. It's generally about 800 feet, the mountain range. So I'll be at 1,600 feet, maybe 2,000 feet, or even 3,000 feet. So I'll be coming in over the mountain range, and then I'll start my descent to come into Brisbane Airport. Actually, I'll be coming from down here. So if I'm coming from down here, you might want to get these scenery here. So you'll come in the normal Flight Sim 10 scenery, and then your photoreal will take over. Now, if you want low resolution, say you're still at 10,000 feet, above 5,000 feet. If you're above 5,000 feet, then get this resolution. And then as you get closer to the airport, so here's the airport, that little orange dot represents the airport. That'll be one image. These will be one image, but very low LOD level. Yeah, I mean, you can go to a higher LOD level, but it'll just take up too much hard drive. So you go down like that. Now, say you want this one here, but you want a higher LOD level. Well, generally smallest is very high resolution, but 13 is a good option. Yes, I know. 13 is a good option. See, when you change that box, it'll get rid of all the ones that you selected because you changed the resolution. So now I'm on size 13, which is about LOD 19. And you can see now we're talking about 4 boxes, but it's LOD 19. So it's how much I work. I generally work with 4 boxes. That's how it is for me. It's just a shame that the boxes are all across the runway, because if I have to do any taxiway work, now I've got to be accurate. From this one to this one, I've got 2 images. Now I've got to be dead accurate with my editing. Same here, not so much on this one. And now we've got a runway that we're slicing through here, a runway we slice through here, and a runway we slice through here. So that gives me a nightmare, because now when I open Photoshop, I now have to have all 4 images in Photoshop at the same time. And that could be as much as 3 terabytes of actual memory, not 3 terabytes, 3 gigabytes of actual memory that I'm giving Photoshop. And then you've got Photoshop open, then you've got Windows open, and what God knows what other apps you've got to open up in the background. So for this reason, for doing an image like that, for that reason, it would be, well, 16 gigabytes of memory. If you don't have 16 gigs, don't even bother. Don't even bother. If you've got 8 gig, you can do it, sure, and you can probably work with it, no worries. But I would say 16. I've been using 32 gig for 10 years now. Um, I've got a machine that's got 64. I've got a machine that's got 128. Depends what I'm doing. Depends the scenery that I'm getting. So if I wanted to download that, all you do here is hit start, and your settings for where the scenery is in here. So you can see the last one I did was Williamstown using Bing, and you saw how good Williamstown was. But I won't do that. I will do the same as what I did last time. Go to my games directory. I'll leave this folder. I'll leave that open. Games directory. I'll make a new one called Amberley again. Excuse me. ugh, had a bit of an asthma attack there. So I'll go new folder again. Amber Lee, and Aero, and I'll put Aero in here. 2024, so I know which one is actually doing it. Go to there, hit copy, same again, paste and paste. Oops, I hit two keys at once. Don't worry about any of this other stuff here. Just hit OK. Go back to your program and hit start. I keep feeling like there's a spider on me. I don't know why. And you can see the directory. It'll tell you basically, I don't know what this reference is here. Map 13, Google, Lod 19, and that's stitched. So Lod 19, these are all the images that Aero downloads, and they're JPEGs. So you can see, they're only small, they're only 256 by 256, but there's dozens and dozens, and you can see the scroll wheel here, dozens and dozens and dozens of them. But it does stitch it together to within 5 images, and you still got to stitch those together anyway. So you can see it hasn't done it yet. I'll leave it on that directory and I'll show you how it's working. So you can see current process is there for whatever it's doing. So it's stitching the images right now. So I'll pause, I'll come back when all the stitching is finished and that directory, oh, here we go, it's starting to do it now. But I'll come back when it's complete. Back to, oh, oh, excuse me. Okay, so it's not quite finished yet, but because we had 4 squares, we have to download the images for 4 squares. I thought I'd start the video again to show you that we are on our 4th square. We are downloading the images. Now, these images are not small. Well, those images are small. They're 256 pixels by 256 pixels. And there's 1,072 of them. And then it'll stitch it up into an 8 gig by 8 gig. So instead of 256 pixels, it'll now be 8,192 pixels by 8,192 pixels. And then you have to take all of those into Photoshop and then stitch them together. So it does give you a bit more work. It won't build an INI file. Even though this does a better job than FS Earth Tiles, it's more accurate. It won't download. It won't download scenery prop. It won't give you masks, so you won't have water, you won't have seasons. You'll just get the raw images. Now, in the case of Aero Scenery or Aero Fly, which is the game that this uses this scenery, it generates all these other files, which I don't do. I just download the images, so I've got that select to download the images, which it's doing now, and stitch them together, which it's doing now. I don't run this other stuff, which is only for this simulator. The image resolution, now that's finished, the image resolution is, you can see 19 is 0.299 meters per pixel. So for every pixel, it's a third of it's 300 centimeters. So every pixel is 300 centimeters. That's your resolution. Very high resolution. You can make that bigger. You can go to LOD 20. It'll download LOD 20 as well. But if Google doesn't have a LOD 20 image, you'll only get LOD 19 anyway. You'll just make your work 10 times harder. You could go down to 18. You can see these are your LOD levels, right? LOD 18 is what I work in. Richmond, Amberley, or Richmond. Richmond is LOD 19. Williamstown is LOD 19, but Pearce was LOD 18. So that's what I use for Pearce, 0.5 meter per pixel. And I use this primarily for Williamstown and Richmond. Was it Williamstown? Yeah, Williamstown and Richmond was using that, and this was used for Pearce. And you saw the resolution of that. Now, let's have a look. We can close this down because there's no point. And these are the images. Now, these are the stitched images, which now you have to bring into Photoshop or whatever image processing software that you're using. You could be using, what's that other one? I can't think of any offhand, but I use Photoshop. The first thing I would do now, I use a program called Irfan View to view my images. You might use what's in Windows. I find that a bit slow. You might use Paint, which is unbelievably slow. But with a PNG image, I just use Irfan View because it opens pretty much anything. I'll just double click on it. You can see it's opening, and that's how quick it is. And you can see the image here is 8192, as I said before, 8192 by 8192 by 24 bits. And you can see that is 11% of the actual image. Now we can zoom in here to 100%. Let's go to 100%. Oops, too far. 106%. You can actually change it in here and go to 100%. So there's 100% of the image. So that's what the image looks like. And you can see, quality-wise, not too bad. Altitude, if I said what altitude I'm looking at, I'm probably looking at 700 feet. I'm about 700 feet off the ground. So, I mean, that's pretty good altitude. When you get really close, I mean, when you're on the ground, that's when it starts to get furry. That's why you need a very high resolution. Williamstown, Pearce, um, yeah, Williamstown, Pearce, and Richmond. Those three are higher resolution. So this one is not as high. So you zoom out a bit. That's 51%. Let's just go to 100% here. And you can see this is just the surroundings. So you can, you can get rid of your traffic, which I'll do, um, as long as there's not too much traffic. Some I'll keep. So we'll go down until we see the airport. That's the top right. That's a strip. That's another thing you've got to add in. This program does strips like that. We've got part of the airport here, so that's the upper. Looks like there's another little airport there too. Let's go to 100%. So where was that? That was on the bottom left, wasn't it? Here we are on the right. So you got another airport here. I think that's radio control, actually. I think that's a radio control aircraft because you've got what building we got there? Very, uh, very small building where it could be a platform for people to stand on. What have we got down here? I can't tell you how big that is. I'd have to go to Google Earth to find out how long that building is. And you can see there's like a little viewing area here. Um, don't know. To me, at a guess, I don't know the Amberley area, but to me, at a guess, I would say that's for radio control aircraft. That would be just a guess because it's on grass, it's mowed, it's maintained, but it's well away from the main airport, which is, as you can see, the starts of it are over here. So it's probably 2 or 3 kilometres or 1 or 2 miles away from the main airport. It's far enough away that it's not going to be a nuisance. So let's go to the next image. Next image. Top right again. Next image. Here we go. We go to 100% because that's basically what we're going to be doing our resolution. Taxiway. Looks like a washing area here. I don't know Amberley that well, but I can generally look at, you got all your main aprons and taxiways here, your parking places. Well, you've got the Poseidon Park over there, 737 Poseidon. More Poseidons because they're not using. You got your C117, I think it is C17. Yeah, it looks like a C17. Um, you can correct me. I'm not a military person. Well, I have done military um, work. Can I say that? I've got my airport, or my airports, like the first Amberley I did is in a simulator in Brisbane that does train military personnel. Can't say which one it is, but it does train military personnel. I did it with static aircraft, and I took away all the AI. So AI can't land, and it's basically just to train um, pilots over there. It's not official, but for all I for all I know, I mean, they could be using it in official simulator. I wouldn't know. I don't even care if they do. But yeah, I could work on that. I would replace all the taxiways anyway and put my own lines in, or let the AFCAD put the lines in. So I wouldn't really worry about removing the aircraft. I would just make this taxiway. I would get something like that, and then repeat it over the whole area that I need, cover it, cut it, and that becomes my taxiway, and allow the AFCAD. The AFCAD would be hard to make, but allow the AFCAD to do the taxi paths and so forth that are close. You want to do an AFCAD in such a way that it doesn't. So the aircraft are not doing things odd. So this aircraft might think that going over this aircraft is the shortest way. It might reverse back this way, go along here, and then say, I'm going to go this way, and then drive over here. In reality, that wouldn't happen. It would just go out and taxi out that way to the runway or to wherever it's going. Might be going to a hangar for maintenance. So, yeah, so I would build my taxiway so it can't reverse, it can only go forward. Where these ones, well, you can see these ones can't reverse either. They're not allowed to because of how the taxiway is. So they come in this way, park, go out that way. And if they're going to a hangar, they will park in this one because this is the only one that allows the aircraft to go right. And you can see it goes into that hangar. And then if you're going down to this one here, you would park in any, I don't know what these parking spots are or what their designation is. I could probably zoom in. No, it's not good enough resolution to do that. So that's 378%, which oops, every time you do that, it goes back to where you started from. So there you go. So that's not too bad. Not the clearest, not something I would use just yet. The models are made. The models have been made for months now. And yeah, so they're the two that I use. I don't use SBuilder X, although it has advantages too, but I don't use that program. I might use FS Earth Tiles the first time round. And if I'm going to this one, then I've got to write the INI file myself, which I do anyway. But write the INI file myself, stitch all the images that it's already stitched together, and you can see, as I say, they're 8 GB each. Or 8,000 megabytes. They're 8 GB each, so you've got, uh, well, in the case of this one, how many we got? One, two, three, four. Actually, let's change this. We don't need this. There's nothing in this aero file. It tells you latitude and longitude. You can't use anything in there that will help you build for Flight Sim 10 because that's all I do is Flight Sim 10. I'm not going to do Flight Sim 2020 or Flight Sim 2024. I don't want to learn how to do all of this again. It's bad enough that I come from Flight Sim 8, all the airports Mark Riggs and myself and Anthony Lynch did in Flight Sim 9. Then I had to change again when I did Flight Sim 10, but it wasn't too bad. It was basically how to do the BGL files. We've gone from Flat Earth, which was Flight Sim 9, to a Globe Earth in Flight Sim 10. And Flight Sim 20 is everything is done in the sim, and I don't really want to have the sim open to do the work. I just can't see the sense in that. So um, I'm not going to bother. I can supply all the base files if someone wants to convert an airport, and I will help in the conversion of that file. But I'm not going to bother doing it myself. So don't expect a Flight Sim 2020 or a Flight Sim 2024 scenery from me. That's all native. It'll be a conversion. There are no tools that I know of that can do it easy. It does it easy for planes, but just doesn't do it easy for the scenery itself. So you get all of these, open these up in Photoshop, stitch them all together, make one image or two images or four images. You can see they're quite big, 183 megabytes, 174. So by the time you've got it into Photoshop, it's going to be about 2 gigabytes. It's a lot bigger when it's decompressed. These are all compressed in PNGs. They'll be decompressed just in RAW. So it'll be bigger. It'll probably be double your memory. So it'll be 4 gigabytes that you're opening. Then you've got to stitch it all together, save the file. From that file, make a blend. From that file, make water. From the main image, you make all your seasons. So you'll color it. You'll make it, well, looking at these images, just open one up again. I can see there is a lot of blue in this image. Why would I say that? Well, I can just see there's a lot of blue in the image. So the camera that whoever took this photo or whatever took this photo, I don't know what camera took this photo, but it's probably a high end. The plane it's on. These camera pods, they're on bottom of commercial aircraft. They're not on satellites, so they're on the bottom of a commercial aircraft, and it's taking a photo every whatever, every you know, it might take 1,000 photos for a trip from one area to another area. Like in America, it might take a photo every half a second. So you're going to have thousands and thousands of photos, which Google has they have probably their own program which stitches it all together, and that becomes Google Earth. It's not done from satellites. It's done from aircraft, commercial aircraft. That's why we didn't get any updates when COVID hit, because there were no commercial flights. But now we're getting commercial flights. The scenery is being upgraded again. So it's a commercial aircraft going over the ground at, as you know, 500 miles an hour. At altitude, it's doing at least 500 miles an hour. And it's taking a photograph every whatever. So I'm amazed. Excuse me. Oh, I've got a chest cold at the moment. So I'm amazed the photos are as good as they are. So yeah, commercial aircraft's going over taking the photos. So maybe not every half a second. It might be doing. I don't know. I haven't researched it. I don't know. I'm just guessing. I'm just pulling shit out of my ass. So it's not bad considering how it's done. It's pretty good. It's pretty accurate. So it'd be a pretty high end camera, I'd say, not a low end camera. It wouldn't be a camera that you and I can afford. Well, you might be able to, but I wouldn't be able to. So yeah. So that's it. So Aero Scenery and FS Earth Tiles, how easy it is to download the scenery. Aero Scenery is a lot more work, but they generally have better quality images, and it's easier to work with because the things that you stitch together, there's not as many images to stitch together. FS Earth Tiles, you've got more options to download. So I'm going to leave that there because the video's already lasted an hour. And as you know, with my videos, I'll just make them and upload them. I'm not on YouTube to make money. I don't need to. I've got a good job in real life. So I'm not on YouTube to make money. Maybe in 2025 I might consider it, but right now not. And I don't know if you see ads because I use an ad blocker. So I don't see ads. But yeah, so I'll leave the video there. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned a little bit. If you didn't learn anything, well, I apologise for that. If you like the channel, you can have a look at my other videos here. Some are crap. I'll admit that now because I don't put the time and effort into editing the video. If I get 50 views in 3 years, that's 50 people that learned a little bit. I'll be happy with that. I'm not here, as I say, I'm not here to make money. I don't monetize these videos at all. And wherever you are in the world, have a fantastic Christmas. Thumbs up if you liked the video, if there's anything that you learned um, or learned, depending on where you are in the world. Subscribe to the channel. I do bring out various things. Sometimes I do car racing, sometimes I do flight sim. Today it's a flight sim thing. And we'll go from there. If you've got any questions, please ask me in the comments below. But yeah, please give me that thumbs up so maybe more than 50 people get to see the video. And I'll catch you on the next one. Anyway, Flight Sim Dev, Lawrence Nichols here, signing off, and I'll see you in the next video, wherever that may be, and whatever time. So anyhow, catch up.